Villain, Batman Night Flight, X-Flight, and Superman Ultimate Escape. 4 great rides located at one of the most ambitious parks in the world. Six Flags World of Adventure was a park that I wish each and every one of you was able to experience. This 550-acre park, located just southeast of Cleveland, Ohio, is no longer around. But if it was, how would that have changed the amusement park industry today? And what type of rides and roller coasters would be located at Worlds of Adventure today in 2020 if the park was still in operation? I'm going to give you a year-by-year breakdown of my predictions as to what I think Six Flags would have added to this mega property to compete with Kings Island and, of course, Cedar Point. My name is Brandon, and welcome to Theme Park Predictions. And by growing up in Ohio, I was able to make the 3.5-hour drive to visit Six Flags World of Adventure each year that it was a Six Flags park. While World of Adventure did get a bad rap, the park really was unlike any regional park around. You had 10 thrilling coasters, a water park, and all the marine animals from what once was SeaWorld, Ohio. And if you'd like me to create a video just like this for Six Flags Astroworld, then let's get this video to 700 likes. If World of Adventure was still around today, how would this affect Cedar Point and Kings Island? Well, we have seen different expansion plans for both of these Cedar Fair properties, since all 3 of these parks were trying to stand out from one another. I do think that these 3 parks could survive together, but that is only if Six Flags started to manage Worlds of Adventure better. Also, how would Six Flags' future expansions at other parks from the 2004 through 2020 season look like if they still own Worlds of Adventure? What do you think? Please let me know in the comments. I would love to see your thoughts. Now let's get into the predictions with the year that Six Flags sold Cedar Fair, 2004. If Six Flags would have had a major attraction set to debut at the park for the 2004 season, then we would have seen it built, since the sale of the parks were not until the spring of that year. So I think we would have seen park improvements take place, making the whole park look and feel nicer. 2005. I predict that in 2005, Worlds of Adventure would finally have added their own hypercoaster to the park. And I know there were already rumors swirling around that this park was next in line to get a hypercoaster. I predict that you would have seen a 220-foot tall INTAMIN Hyper added to the park that features 5,500 feet of track and a top speed of 75 miles an hour. This new coaster would be located here in the yellow circle, right along the path that connected the wild rides with the wildlife section of the park. The new hypercoaster would give World of Adventure a great big 4 in their coaster lineup, with Villain, Batman Night Flight, and X-Flight. Not bad when you're competing with Cedar Point 80-some miles away. The 2005 season would also be the last for Mr. Hyde's Nasty Fall, the park's first-generation INTAMIN Freefall. But that is okay, because Six Flags would trade this first-gen INTAMIN Freefall ride in for an INTAMIN Gyro Drop Tower for the 2006 season. This 250-foot tall freefall attraction would be located in the same spot as the park's former freefall ride. Now, I don't know if World of Adventure ever had a height requirement, but if it did, I'd imagine it'd be around 200 to 250 foot mark. So some of these predictions on the stats might need to be dropped down to 200. Again, I don't know if they did or not, so I guess we'll just roll with it. I predict that you'd also see a new animal exhibit open at the park this year. 2006 started the Mark Shapiro days and his famous phrase, "There will be no more roller coasters like Goliath built at a Six Flags park." And that phrase really made the coaster community really nervous, since he said he would never invest $15+ million for a new roller coaster going forward. For the 2007 season, you see the park add a new mat racer slide to Hurricane Harbor. This new slide would be built in the same spot as the Stingray wet speed slides were. This would add some much needed capacity for this already small in size water park. Now with the park really improving the customer service and cleaning up the park, plus the new Hyper, freefall towers, and now a mat racer, I predict that the park would have seen a record attendance for the 2007 season. I also predict that you'll see the park remove their Pirates 4D attraction this year. Maverick at Cedar Point opened in 2007, and since Shapiro wasn't going to spend money on a major coaster, the park would debut a new Gerstlauer spinning coaster for the 2008 season. This would add a much needed coaster that provides thrills but for the whole family to ride together. But this won't be your typical spinning coaster, because this one will be located indoors, taking over the park's old 4D theater, and feature a cool and unique animal theme. This would really start to spread out the park's coasters, which in my opinion is the smartest move this park could make. Coming in 2009, the park would have opened a new wildlife-themed kid area and animal exhibit to the wildlife section of the park. This new area and attraction would be located on the hill where the park's picnic pavilions were located. For the 2010 season, the skyline of the park would change forever with the debut of a 220-foot tall skyscraper, located right on the lake across from the entrance of the park's new hypercoaster. Cedar Point's Windseeker didn't open up until 2011, and this would be a great ride to add before the Point had one. And 2010 was also a year that Shapiro left the company, and goodbye, no one misses you. I think for the 2011 season, you would have seen the park make some park improvements and add a new live show or shows to the park. Minor improvements, but these go a long way for park guests. In 2012, World of Adventure would open its next coaster, a brand new hybrid coaster. And remember that 2011 was the first year that Six Flags started to work with RMC. Would the park RMC Raging Wolf Bob's or Villain? I'd predict that you'd see the Iron Villain open in 2012. This would be the first hybrid coaster in Ohio and really put some pressure on Cedar Point and Kings Island. Villain was an awesome coaster, and I'd do anything to take some rides on this ride today, as it was and still is one of my favorite wooden coasters I've ever ridden. I predict that you'd see the coaster's lift hill extended 25 feet to make Iron Villain 133 feet tall. The new hybrid and hyper would really bring in the crowds, and now World of Adventure is home to two coasters that could have been in yours and mine top 10 lists. For the 2013 season, you see the park debut two new family rides. A new Flying Eagles ride which would replace the Texas Twister thrill ride, and a mock Aqua Splash ride that would replace the park's Time Warp attraction. New this year, you'd also see a new dolphin exhibit and show open on the wildlife section area of the park. For the 2014 season, I predict that you see the park remove another ride, but the park will open its newest thrill ride in the same location. It'll be time to say goodbye to El Dorado and say hello to a LARSON loop. Now, I'm not a fan of these flat rides that Six Flags like to call quote-unquote coasters, but no other park in Ohio has one, so I totally think that you'd find one at World of Adventure if it was still around. The focus would be on Hurricane Harbor for the 2015 season, and this landlocked water park would remove their 3-slide complex, Neptune Falls, in favor of a new speed slide complex from Whitewater that features 3 speed slides and 2 family inner tube slides. This would give Hurricane Harbor another great slide complex with 5 new slides. Any double loop fans out there? Waiting. I don't hear anything. Still waiting. In 2015, the park would retire their double loop aerial coaster. World of Adventure would then open Ohio's only 4th dimension coaster, an S&S Free Spin. This new coaster would be located on the same land that Double Loop occupied. The park would also add pavers to this area of the park to make it look nicer. You'd also see the removal of the park's go-karts near the end of the year. Now, opening for the 2017 season, you'll see the park add Ohio's only thrilling dark ride, Justice League Battle for Metropolis. This heavily themed dark ride will be located on the same plot of land that the park's former go-karts were located. And yes, I did the measurements, and there is enough room for this building and queue to fit. This new dark ride would really give World of Adventure something that Cedar Point and Kings Island doesn't offer. The park would then again see record attendance for the 2017 season. Coming to World of Adventure in 2018 would be the world's largest, at the time, Zamperla Giant Discovery. This massive new thrill ride would be located just to the left of the Joker and right next to the park's log flume. And yes, both Kings Island and Cedar Point already have these type of rides, but they are the Husk versions, and they aren't as tall, and most importantly, they don't offer the amazing lighting package that the Zamperla model offers. The park's next coaster will open in 2019, and I think we would have seen an RMC custom-designed single roller coaster. This new coaster would be carefully squeezed in between the Big Dipper and Mindy Racer. This new 3-inversion RMC single rail would feature a long double out and back style layout and feature a height of 125 feet, 3,200 feet long, and speeds of 56 miles an hour. Yet another ride that Cedar Point or Kings Island doesn't offer, and that will also be the case for World of Adventure's 2020 Capital. I predict that you'd see the park add a new Pro Slide Rocket Blast water coaster with some saucers to Hurricane Harbor, just like the one that opened at Fiesta Texas a few years back. The only way that the park could fit this in would be to remove what I believe was a maintenance building circled in yellow and build a new water coaster here. This new Rocket Blast water coaster would become Hurricane Harbor's most popular attraction to date. So that is how I predict World of Adventure would look like today if the park never closed and stayed under the Six Flags ownership. What do you think about my predictions? What are yours? Please let me know down below in the comments. Please give this video a thumbs up, and if you already haven't, click that subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay positive, and keep riding coasters.